Okay, in today's video, I'll be talking about automation, and I'm going to show you that automation is a very old idea. It's been employed by humans as far as the Roman Empire with this water mill factory, as you can see here. Um, what the Romans did was they harnessed water power, which they funneled through their aqueduct system, and this was used to pulverize grains into flour, so which could be used or turned into bread. And they didn't have to do it by hand. What they used was they used water power from aqueducts, and they funneled it into a mill factory to produce flour. And this was one of the earliest examples of automation which was employed. And basically, even in the 18th century, automation was used. As you can see, this is a water mill, so this is using water power, kind of like what the Romans were doing about 2,000 years ago. Um, but this is powered by water, as you can see. Humans are basically harnessing the power of nature to make to produce something. And even in the 1960s, with the advent of, well, with electric power, people were using this power to automate factories. And you have different types of automation, like mechanization, which is kind of like a semi-automation. Humans using machines to produce things like the Industrial Revolution. And you have automation where less people are used to produce stuff. And this goes down to the production phase, all the way. The materials handling is manual, of course. It's done by human beings, and it's sent to machinery like conveyor belts and stuff. And then the automation part is where the machine takes over by doing assembling, testing, and packaging even. So this idea is very old. It's been employed back in the 1960s, when this was during the time when they didn't have like semiconductors. They had computers with vacuum tubes, but they did have computers, but it was very big and cumbersome. But they did have automation to produce stuff like all types of stuff, like parts for engines. In this case, this is in a cookie factory or something, or making pastries. As you can see, this is an automated plant, and this has definitely brought down the cost of these items greatly. And this is, like I said, not a new idea. It's You don't have to have people produce stuff manually if you don't have to, right? And it's better, but you did have some people inspecting stuff, you know. But I don't today. You probably don't even have that. So this is an engine factory, an automated engine factory. So this is where the machine like takes over and does most of the production. You don't really have to have humans in this part of it. And the machine is boring holes in the engine. This man is inspecting different drills that he has to put into the machine. So it's still, there's a person um, that is in the process. Maybe he's like a technician or something. So you still need technicians to maintain these machines and change parts in them from time to time. And you have different types of production methods: making, inspecting, assembling, testing, and packaging. Okay. Even the packaging is done by, sometimes it's done by humans. Testing could be done by machines, or humans as well, packaging as well. You have do you have a manual area, mechanization area, and an automation area? So with the advent of with the new type of manufacturing, there's probably less people that are needed. In this part, it shows that humans are still like needed to like feed the machine, and of course that's gonna still be needed, right? Just like you put something into the food processing unit, like a kind of like a juicer or something, but the machine is doing the work, but you still have to do some work. You know, you still have to have people do stuff. And this automation thing has been going on for quite a while, and it's actually made it possible for more people to have more of the goods that our society or system produces, so people can have them, because if the price was too much, people couldn't afford it, right? It definitely brought down the cost of things, so people can have stuff like washing machines, cars, dryers, monitors, television sets, radios, all kinds of stuff, you know, light bulbs, cookies, I guess, which is affordable, and everything else. So even the inspection part, this was during the 1960s, was done by automation, right? So this is gauging the, measuring the tolerances of the hole, and basically the machine is accepting or rejecting it. If it's too much, if it's too large or too narrow, then it just gets tossed out. So this is like part of quality control before it goes into the production phase. So there's less waste and there's more efficiency, and with more efficiency, the costs come down basically. So this is a good thing. So it's really a process that's been going on for a while, and as a result, we have more of a consumer type of economy, and people are arguing that a lot of the jobs have been like sent out of the country, where I guess the production cost is much less, like countries like Malaysia, over the years, like Indonesia, it went to like Taiwan. First, yeah, it went to Taiwan, then it went to like South Korea, then it went to China, Japan, and then China, right? And actually, the process is more like Japan was producing low cost goods, and then it was like Taiwan and South Korea was producing low cost goods, and after that it was like countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, China and stuff, and I guess now India and countries like that, Nepal, are producing stuff. But those are the type of jobs that nobody wants, like the kind of like labor intensive type of jobs, like soldering circuit boards and making textiles and stuff like that. Or assembling, making shoes and stuff like that. People don't want to do like labor intensive type of work. But for the most part, most of the jobs, like manufacturing jobs, were simply automated. right? It wasn't really like most of it wasn't shipped out because a lot of stuff is still produced in the United States. Like think of a Coke factory or a Budweiser factory or a company that produces paper towels and toilet paper. That production is all still in the United States, right? And that's pretty much like automated, kind of like what you see here, right? This is not like a new thing, right? So as you can see, most of the stuff that's been automated for industrial production has been automated. And there's also the second age of automation, which I will be discussing next.
Fanuc Man was also built for show, but it incorporates the features that make a robot. Controlled by a bank of computers that serves as the robot's brain, Fanuc Man is reprogrammable. That is, it can be taught, directed, to perform many different jobs. It is multifunctional. Its arms and gripper-like hands can adapt to a variety of tasks. Robots are all manipulators. Building a miniature replica of itself, Fanuc Man embodies the definition of a robot, a computer with muscles. Robot hands and arms are widely used in industry and by scientists. Many of them are built to mimic the actions of the human hand. It might seem simple to reach out and pick up an object, but if the robot clutches the object too tightly, it may be crushed. If the grasp is too loose, the object will fall. Scientists have developed sensors to tell the robot just how much pressure to apply. Most of the jobs now performed by robots were formerly done by people. Since the average robot can potentially do the work of 2 people, many fear that these intelligent machines will eventually force thousands of people out of their jobs. Industry analysts acknowledge that robots will eliminate or greatly change some types of human work. The key to coping with this potential economic and social problem is education. Robots will never eliminate the need for people. Like all machines, they require people to design them, build them, sell them, and maintain them. But many of those who might lose their jobs don't have the skills or education needed for these new positions. If people are to be ready for the jobs the robotics revolution will create, they must begin learning about this new technology when they are very young.
Get the vacation money. What? And my bank's closed.
Oh, I forgot to transfer money from my savings and my bank's closed.
Wow. I wish I could borrow some extra money, but my bank's closed.
Central Ready Banks are always open when you need them, 24 hours a day, and they can do just about anything a bank can do.
This guy sent me 25 bucks cash. I said, I don't have that much cash. He said, you got a Ready Bank card? I said, oh yeah, take me to Ready Bank.
At the moment, there is a severe crisis of profitability within industries in Western countries. They're having to put more and more capital, more and more people to extract the same amount of profit from the production process.
The Conservative Political Centre sees microelectronics as the way out. They say,
the semiconductor revolution offers a way out of the multiple crises we face.
Lord Spence, in the House of Lords, explains why.
Silicon chips do not belong to unions. They do not go on strike. They do not ask for more and more pay. They do not need holidays, nor heated offices, nor tea breaks. They are very reliable and do not make mistakes. They need very little space in which to function. They are very cheap. They use very little energy. And they are here now, waiting to be brought into use.
We are now in a period in which production itself is being reorganized. to bypass, to squeeze out labour from the productive process, whether it's production on a factory, whether it's in an office. And microelectronics is a key technology at the moment to enable the capitalists to squeeze out or to regiment labour much more.
They're eliminating human energy and human intelligence by machines. And the reason they do this is they believe that by reducing labour costs, that is the wages that are paid to the workers, that will render their industry more efficient.
In the United States today, productivity has become the status of almost a major ideological war. Management raises the flag of increased productivity. The workforce is supposed to salute. Very often the question, however, is not productivity, but one of control. That is, management would like to exert increased control over the workforce in the long run to maximize profit. Went on to say that by 1995, 1 out of every 2 jobs would be replaced by robots.
Take a bow, T3.
Here, Cincinnati Millicron, a robot manufacturer, explain in their publicity film why robots are so attractive for their customers in the car industry.
You don't need to write any programs, punch tapes, or perform complex calculations. All you do is use the handheld teach pendant you see here to guide the robot from point to point. It performs the most repetitive, monotonous tasks day in, day out, without complaint. Never tires, never needs a break. It's never absent, and based on a 2-year payback, 3 shifts a day, it works for about $6 an hour, no fringes. And to tell the robot what to do at a particular point, you just use the alphanumeric keyboard shown here.
It's a deliberate design of machines and systems to remove decision-making from the worker and to transfer it to another point in the organization where it's far more easily controlled. The idea is to take a job where formerly a worker may have had quite a bit of discretion in the timing of the job. For example, a job done on a bench where you have a lot of different parts and you build a sub-assembly. This job is then put on a transfer line where workers and robots are alternated. So all of a sudden you find that your workmates on either side and across from you are robots. But the problem is more than one of just not having anyone to talk to. You may begin to talk to the robots after a point. The problem becomes one of the pace of work is set by the mechanical arms on either side. These arms are programmed at a central methods laboratory by time study engineers. So work where you formerly had some control over the pace or the method of operation, those decisions are completely removed. And you find yourself literally trapped between mechanical arms programmed by someone else. You might ask, why are there people there in the first place? And that's strictly an economic decision right now because sight and feel for robots haven't been perfected to the point where this is economically feasible right now. So that's the sole worth of a human being in the system.
Business is besieged by it. All kinds of equipment have been required to manage it, until now. Now, with Wang's new integrated information system, one person very simply can perform data processing, word processing, high-speed image printing, and worldwide communication. If Wang can create all this today, who knows what the future holds?
Let us begin our inquiry with technology. It's all here, right now, and functioning usefully for Xerox customers. Document creation given new speed and sophistication. High-speed copying, high-speed printing, document transmission, electronic storage and retrieval, digital and image, and more, much more. Impressive. If the technology is here, can the system be far behind?
The whole history of automation shows clearly that you can remove routine work and at the same time make the job that remains far more monotonous and far less interesting than the job that went before.
It seems to me that the jobs that remain, whether in the white collar or in the manual field, will be de-skilled. There'll be jobs in which the worker, whether by hand or by brain, is controlled by the machine rather than the other way round, that they'd be reduced to almost a machine appendage, simply reacting to the system rather than acting upon it. And it'll give the employers enormous control over them.
In the 21st century, we have all types of kiosks, right? So this commercial is showing a kiosk at a USPS, or United States Postal Office. I use this very often because I don't like waiting in the lines, and I could also use it after work, you know, to deliver letters and packages. And it's pretty easy to use. And we have kiosks at the supermarket, which you can see everywhere these days, and that just means we just need fewer cashiers, right? You see less human cashier lines and more kiosks. You see them at Walmart. I use this when I buy like a small amount of stuff at Walmart. You see them at Lowe's. You see them at, well, basically Costco's even. I saw some at Costco. And basically, yes, they're all over. They're even in fast food restaurants like McDonald's. All you really have to have is your credit card, and so there's less cashiers basically, and ATM machines and movie stations and banks and stuff. There's a lot less bank branches that are open as a result of using more online banking and ATMs and stuff like that. And that's what I basically see. Okay, we also see stuff like websites where products are sold, items are sold, and this has been a growing phenomenon since the early part of the 21st century to now. And we have more online businesses now and less brick and mortar stores. And a website is basically automated. You don't need to talk with anybody to order stuff. You could just use the interface and order stuff. And we have online banking, so you don't need to have a bank teller. You don't need to even go to a bank teller. You could just basically use your smartphone to access your bank account. You could deposit checks. You could check your statements. You could download statements and do everything you need to do with banking. And as a result, we see a lot less physical banks these days. They have closed down a lot of bank branches as a result of this, and that's basically what's going on. So you see a lot of people making false claims that banks are closing because the banks are going bankrupt, but that's not true. They just simply don't need that many branches and tellers because of all these technologies. Like they have ATMs where people could just get the money and not have to deal with people at all, basically. And they've got programs and apps on smartphones and computers where people can do everything they need to do to balance transfers, paying their credit cards and everything else, you know. Banks don't even have to mail out your billing statement. You could just simply go into your web browser and go into a portal and log on to your account and pay your credit card bills and whatever you have to pay just from logging onto your bank's website.
thousands of local jobs could just vanish to automation. And we've seen it, kiosks at restaurants, robots serving food.
Yeah, checking into a hotel, you can all do that automated now as well. Yeah. Las Vegas has the nation's highest percentage of workers at high risk of being replaced by technology. Hector Mejia live in person for us this morning with a look at how this could impact our hospitality industry. Hector, good morning.
Good morning. Well, that's exactly what brought us out here, the hospitality industry embracing technology. We see it at the casino floors, at the gaming tables, also those machines checking you into the hotel rooms. Well, the study says gaming dealers have a probability of automation of 96%. And we've seen technology pretty much happen everywhere, from robots in restaurants to cleaning machines, a whole range of tasks. The bottom line, organizations making use of technology to make things more efficiently. Robots don't call in sick, don't need health care. Well, the study by commodity.com says more than 49% of Las Vegas workers are at high risk of automation, while 42% of all U.S. workers face the same risk. So we took the study over to a local center where we found two women searching for jobs.
Just not for high-tech jobs anymore. Meet Flippy, the burger flipping robot. Flippy is a brand new burger flipping robot now cooking at a chain called Cali Burger. First, a little human help. A coworker puts raw patties on the grill. Then the robot uses the thermal imaging 3D and camera vision to sense when to actually flip and move the burger.
The kitchen of
choked with traffic. But here's something you may not know. The semi in the lane next to you may not have a driver behind the wheel.
Yeah, Channel 2 anchor Owen Conflenti explains how the future of the trucking industry is now.
The future of trucking is now, as autonomous, or should I say driverless, semi-trucks are rolling down Texas highways every day. One of the companies leading the way says the goal is fuel efficiency and safer roads.
Autonomous trucks don't text, they don't drive drowsy, they don't drive distracted. They are always focused on the road, and they are always prioritizing safety first.
Kodiak Robotics is one of a handful of companies to test in Texas since legislation allowing automated driving systems passed in 2017. It has daily runs from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex to Houston.
We've hit a 6-month milestone of beginning to...
Okay, now we know what's going to happen in the future. So basically, there's going to be a lot of disruptions in the economy, and you could do something about it. You could study stuff like C++ programming language, C#, Java. You could study PHP and various other programming languages which could help you in this highly technological digital age. But I know everyone's not going to be able to learn these things because it is technical. You know, people don't like to study stuff like math science or computer science, you know, because it's, well, I guess it's hard for a lot of people. So we're gonna see a lot of displacement, and this is what we're gonna continue to see in the future, in my opinion. There will be a lot of new jobs that are created, but these jobs are gonna require a high level of education and skills for people to fill, you know. You have to learn, if you want to learn about robotics, you have to learn something called Python, and this is there's a lot of stuff that people have to know, and the technology is becoming obsolete very, very, very quickly, you know. So you have to keep learning to keep up with the technology, or you're just going to fall behind. And this is a time and age that we live in, and I think they're going to have to eventually work out something like universal basic income or something, because we're just going to see a lot of problems in the future if they don't address this in one way or another. So anyways, I'd like to hear about your thoughts, and please leave it in the comment section. And thanks for watching my Ace 1000 KS 1975 signing out.